Everybody, welcome back to the Boring Enterprise Nerdcast, where we try not, paradoxically, we try not to be boring, but we remain nerds, and it probably will be about enterprise, but we will not be boring. So I am playing the main host today. My name is Paul Moderman. With me today is the incredible and amazing, as always, Jelena Perfilieva. Say hi, Jelena.
Hello everyone.
And we have with us on the pod today a very special guest, a guest near and dear to our hearts, a guest who is an esteemed author, who is a developer extraordinaire. We have with us Aleksandar Debelic. Aleks, please. He's a senior managing consultant at IBM. He wrote the SAP Press book on ABAP in the cloud. And Aleks, I would love if you would take a minute, introduce yourself to our listeners, to our audience. Give us the tasty details. Give us the beautiful story of Aleks in the universe.
All right. Thanks for this great introduction. And thanks first of all for having me. Mm-hmm. And hello to everyone listening to us. So my name is Aleksandar Debelic. I'm SAP technical consultant. So this senior managing consultant, this is a boring IBM title. But my background with SAP, I started back in 2002 as SAP consultant. I started in Basis. So this was my beginning. I kind of started as a Basis consultant and then switched to development. Then after some time, give it a try with the integration, with data modeling and stuff. So basically nowadays I kind of cover pretty much all sorts of topics related to SAP technology. So I'm technical guy.
That's a pretty broad, from a technical standpoint, that's a really broad skill set. I like that.
Yeah, very generalist in SAP.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah,
great variety of skills to have. And just for full disclosure, Aleks and I worked not in the same department, but at the same time at IBM, and we did some collaboration on some of the projects that were very interesting with IBM SAP Innovation Group. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, this is one of my latest adventures with IBM, I must say. So I'm with IBM since 2009, and like in my previous company, I was mostly doing some delivery projects, some boring stuff. But in 2015, I joined a global team within SAP, within IBM, sorry, SAP. So it is, we call ourselves Lab for SAP Solutions. And this is in fact one small group of people that are doing some innovation. So we are exploring technologies, products, trends, and then putting everything in SAP context in a way to kind of show, how we call it, art of the possible.
Yeah.
How we can go with SAP beyond conventional, and how we can tackle some business requirements, some challenges using some different approach. Yeah.
Can you give us one or two, just a little tasty tidbit, one or two of the things that you guys are looking at as you go try the new things?
Well, back in 2015, for example, it was quite interesting. There were very beginnings of AI, for example.
Sure. Yeah.
And being from IBM, of course, what else than IBM Watson? So we started exploring how we can leverage IBM Watson with SAP to kind of bring some added value using these capabilities. Later on, there were different, let's say, phases. So we worked with blockchain, we worked with IoT, with big data, so you name it. I mean, it's kind of, lately it is mostly around automation, about, about intelligent workflows and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty
That's
much.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah. That's a, what do you want to call it? Like a, that's a nerd buffet. right? That's a smorgasbord of a smorgasbord of total nerdity there. So Aleks, one thing is that you are, of course, a published author, and can you give us just a brief, just a little snippet or a little overview of the SAP Press book that you have out there?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can give also brief history. So one of the things that we do as an innovation team, we get our hands on as early as possible on new latest SAP products, even while they are still in alpha or beta phase.
Oh, sure.
And same was for ABAP in the cloud for Steampunk.
Oh, really?
So we started looking into it early, and there was an idea to maybe all the knowledge and experience we got so far to put together a book with SAP Press. Then Jelena helped me to connect with people from SAP Press, and this is how it all started. So we gathered. So it is a team of 4 of us who put together the book. Book covers different areas when it comes to. I mean, it's like an end-to-end, let's say, manual. I mean, it has parts that talk about, so it is about onboarding or about developing applications, touching on ABAP RESTful programming model. But of course, we know that there is a separate book only about that. But we also put it into ABAP in the cloud context, and then a little bit about, since we are talking about something that is running in the cloud environment, so of course, what else but to see how we can leverage what is available out there. So we know that from different providers, we have different products and services that we can consume much more easily when we are in the cloud. And then there is also operations topic covered. So it's kind of end-to-end.
That's end-to-end. That's broad. And I like it too, because I think one of the things, if I can jump on my developer soapbox here a little bit, is that, I think a lot of developers who actually have a lot of experience under their belts with various things, and especially SAP technologies, the concept of the cloud itself might be somewhat new or foreign to them a little bit. And that end-to-end perspective, especially with the operations, I think is pretty vital for those folks to see, because it's a little bit, it's like you have to cross a little bit of a bridge to get your head around, okay, I'm in the cloud now and I'm dealing with services, and sometimes they're elastic, sometimes they're static, sometimes they're this, sometimes they're that, and really putting yourself past what you normally viewed as like, I'm in my familiar safe box doing my familiar things, out there in the cloud doing the maybe some weirdo stuff, maybe some cool stuff, maybe some different things. And I'm going to be, as a developer, I'm going to be asked to do different things out there now that the business and other parts of tech departments can see what's available with these new cloud services that grow every day, right? There's like a million ways to kind of unpack cloud separately as a topic, but it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing to have it packaged together with ABAP in the book, because that gives those developers kind of that like mental path to, okay, I'm familiar with the language, now fill in my environment around me, fill in my knowledge around me, around the language and around the new approaches to things. I really like that. And I'm glad there's a book with that kind of heady concept out there. I'm just rambling now. I'm sorry. I get excited. So I'm sorry.
I want to make sure that it doesn't turn into like ad for the book or anything. I did have access for it from SAP Press through their online library, and I did like a reading of some of the fragments, and I really liked it. I think it's well written. And I think it really keeps a great balance between giving you enough information, not necessarily too much, and just kind of deviating a lot. But it also, I like the fact that it explains things. It explains why. It also gives you side information that's really relevant and necessary to know. So thank you, Aleks, for and other authors for doing that. I think it's a great book, ABAP in the Cloud. And yeah, if you're interested in the subject, definitely go out and seek it out.
And make sure you buy it full price so that we all get our cut. Or advertising it on the podcast. use promo code NERDS to give us a discount.
Totally not sponsored by SAP Press. All right.
Yeah. So let's. Yeah, but thank you, Jelena. Let's not do the whole podcast about the book, because as good as it is, let's kind of keep our brains dancing around here.
Let's go.
So, here is something that I've been wondering, and Aleks, maybe you have a view on this. What is the real world adoption of Steampunk and ABAP in the Cloud looking like these days?
Well, I must say it depends. It is not as much as I guess we would like and we would expect.
Yeah.
There are some limitations. There is also the thing that the evolution of all this story about SAP and cloud and HANA Cloud Platform, SAP Cloud Platform, BTP nowadays, the adoption, not only ABAP as such in the cloud, which was long expected, but also the whole adoption of this kind of concept to have extensions outside SAP. So with S/4HANA, we now have opportunity to build extensions to keep the core clean, like SAP is enforcing these days, and everyone, I think, is now talking mostly about clean core.
Yeah.
But not long ago, it was like, why should I do it? I mean, I still, with S/4HANA, I can do everything the old way. And it took a lot of time to change this mindset to kind of go towards this, how we call it, cloud mindset, and understand what are the advantages, in fact, to have to adopt this kind of way of working. And ABAP is very ABAP in the cloud. Let's say it can have many use cases. We know also from SAP documentation and all sorts of documentation that we can find online, there are different scenarios in which we can use ABAP in the cloud, like we can use it as a kind of cloud ERP or innovation platform, or simply extending S/4HANA. But it is kind of, it can be looked into from different angles, like some kind of bridge to the future for ECC customers, bridge to the future S/4HANA, for S/4HANA customers to extend the solution by leveraging also cloud services. So it's a kind of, then on the other hand, we have the limitation that is the biggest limitation, of course, being the cost. We know that ABAP in the cloud, unlike cloud native extensions that run on Java or Node.js, it requires full-blown NetWeaver, which we know is not a cheap thing.
Not a cheap thing. It's not like going and buying some comic books and candy at the store. It's it costs you. Yeah. So like with that in mind, what do you think so, and this is not, I'm not trying to lead anything, I'm just curious, what do you think the advantage is, if there is, of kind of doing ABAP in the cloud versus that Node or Java scenario? Like what's the true advantage there, do you think? Is there a true advantage?
Well, again, this can be seen from different angles. So, for example, for existing SAP companies who are existing SAP customers for years or maybe even decades, they have developers. They are, first of all, they are fully in ABAP. They have developer teams. They have army of developers that are doing ABAP. Upskilling these people to do something else instead of ABAP is quite an investment and quite an effort. And adopting ABAP in the cloud would be a logical solution. On the other hand, the power of ABAP is ABAP in the cloud is, this RESTful application programming model. Its power is in this CDS layer that is much better implemented than support backward compatibility with support for RFC function modules and stuff. All the stuff that we know from before and that we can easily put now into this new context as well.
That's kind of I kind of think about that stuff when I think about like kind of weighing pros and cons of ABAP, Node, Java, all this kind of stuff. Is like CDS is kind of one of the keys to really thinking, okay, maybe ABAP makes sense in this scenario, right? Like, in other words, if you didn't have CDS or you didn't have the tooling of CDS, it'd be easy to just be like, yeah, screw it, I'll just write it in Node, right? Or I'll just do it in Java or whatever. CDS is kind of a backbone piece of the ABAP part of that equation.
Well, sorry, CDS is not really ABAP, so it's a technical language. We think about it as belonging to the realm of ABAP developers, but technically there is no ABAP in CDS views. It's but sorry, I don't mean to derail, but related to upskilling for ABAPers who are already working with the language, we already mentioned that cloud is essentially completely different environment, different paradigm, if you will. So in terms of upskilling, obviously there are clear differences in ABAP in cloud syntax. There are certain restricted words, etc., and that's probably not very difficult to learn. But what other side learning what other subjects that you think mature ABAP developers would need to explore in addition to simply learning about differences between classic and cloud ABAP syntax?
Yeah, well, I would say first of all, they need to understand the BTP and cloud, let's say, cloud mindset.
Like in general,
this is essential thing. I think because you can have RAP also in on-premise S/4HANA. It's there. It's kind of pretty much can be used there as well. But this cloud mindset that you are now building extensions outside your system, you are using released APIs to communicate, to exchange information, but you are also exposing your services to outside world. You are consuming services from the outside world. So all this is completely different story compared to what ABAP developers have been used to for ages, doing stuff only within the core system and not going outside, except when doing integration with some external systems, which is a completely different story. So we are talking now about services, about service-oriented architecture in the cloud. So it's a completely new way of working, because if we don't understand and we don't adopt that way of thinking, then in the end we are not going to understand what we can do with that ABAP. Why use ABAP in the cloud when we have the same in the core system still? So
why indeed? In terms of testing and deployment, I'm guessing it would be at least slightly different than ABAP that we used to, where obviously we can test debug in the same environment with services. Is it hugely different if someone is already doing, let's say, OData services in S/4HANA on-premise? Would that be a huge change if they start developing in ABAP in cloud?
I don't think so. Now I'm thinking, I don't think so. It's the biggest difference will be that now they are going to be forced to use Eclipse, so no SAP GUI anymore, and to use tools that are available there. But in general, I don't think it is a huge, huge change, huge learning leap for experienced ABAP developers who are already familiar with CDS, with OData and stuff like that.
Yeah. Aleks, can I poke your thoughts here? So one thing we didn't lay out at the beginning was geography, right? So I'm in the US, Jelena is in the US. Aleks, you're overseas. You're in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Do you work with European clients in particular when you're in the work that you do at IBM?
I mostly work with European clients. Yeah,
with European.
That's the thing. But being part of this global team,
you see US clients apparently every now and again too, right? Because this is something that we've touched on here and there in our discussions, both just internal to ourselves and with other folks. Is do you see a difference in how European customers use SAP and European folks? European companies have their techies attack ABAP and things like that versus the American companies who do so? Do you see a difference there?
Now it's difficult to say because
Sure.
I don't have that kind of reach with US clients from that perspective. But what I can say when I look from the perspective of European customers, clients who are working with SAP, it is case by case. So you can see examples of companies that are kind of very hesitant to adopt this new way of working. But on the other hand, and quite on the opposite, you have companies who are old SAP customers, but they want to do everything the new way. They want to innovate. They want to adopt cloud, multi-cloud, you name it.
Sure.
They are not. They are ready to invest and to learn. So. Because they are confident that this is all going to benefit their business.
Right. Okay. The reason I asked that was because it's just been a nagging little theory in my head, I guess. Thinking about the adoption of ABAP in the cloud and that kind of stuff. And the differences between the U.S. and the European folks, because I'll be honest too, is there when I see an interesting book title like ABAP in the Cloud or ABAP to the Future or whatever, I immediately assume that the authors are not American authors, right? Because the U.S. doesn't seem to have quite as much
U.S. is not
go
cool.
Get them. We're not like. And I mean, it's not like it's the U.S.'s job to be that way, but just it feels like it has felt a little bit like, and Jelena, I think you'll agree, that there is some sort of across the ocean difference in how companies and how individual nerds and stuff go about this stuff. And I just was taking a moment to randomly try to get your perspective on that, because it's fascinating to me to still think about it. This ABAP conference these guys put on last year, I think, and again maybe December this year, it's full of Europeans, and that's great. That really is great. I'm not knocking Europeans. I'm just saying, come on, Americans, get your crap together and do something with this too. Get going. Anyway, that's fine.
Europe gets all the cool stuff.
Yeah, Europe's getting all the cool stuff and the cool people doing the cool stuff, and we're stuck here. I don't know, whatever's cool in America, like apple pie and baseball and stuff, I guess. But
Well, I must say, to defend the United States, we have a very nice mixture of authors for this book. So there is one guy from United States, two from India, and me from Europe. So
so there's a guy, there's an American guy in your book. Okay. Well, maybe I'll give the Americans a little bit of a break then. Okay.
So I think we kind of jumped over one subject that I wanted to touch on very briefly. It's really a small question. You know how there was a very famous TV show in the US called Seinfeld, and there was always that segment like, what's the deal with like some subject, like what's the deal with parking, or what's the deal with so I want to know, like, what's the deal with all the different names that seem to relate to ABAP in cloud? Because I hear different names from different people, and I think a lot of people are just totally confused. Like, it's the same? Is it different? How is it different? So the names that we are hearing are Steampunk. There is ABAP in the cloud, CAP. I think that's a current official name by SAP. Maybe changed at any time. Who knows? Also, some people refer to it as ABAP like PaaS, like platform as a service. So, Aleks, can you clear up confusion for community members? What's the deal with that?
What's the deal with the names?
What's the deal with Steampunk?
Yeah, so it depends how you look into it, because from one side you have an official name from SAP, which changed only slightly because SAP Cloud Platform was, I hate to say rename because it is not just a renaming, but this is wholly different topic. What is related to SAP, BTP, it's different. But basically now the product is officially called SAP BTP ABAP environment. This came in the middle of in fact, we were at the stage when we were finishing the book, and then there was this TechEd conference in which SAP announced it is not, there is no SAP Cloud Platform anymore, and oh my God, we had to change everything now in the book because everything where there was SAP, we had to rename it to BTP. But fine, yeah, we are used to these kind of changes. But yeah, good thing. I'd say again, it's not really one-to-one relationship, but good to know. Steampunk is, I remember someone said that there was one blog even that someone said that this was in fact a code name, internal SAP code name that somehow leaked outside. And, everyone loved it and everyone started calling it Steampunk. But yeah, it's like some kind of unofficial name. But when you say Steampunk in SAP world, then you know what it is. I mean,
like like a pet name, I guess.
I sort of wish that Steampunk would stick as like the way everybody says it, because I love that name. Steampunk is a cool name, I think, and it kind of has a little bit of the steampunk aesthetic has kind of a relationship to that, right? Because steampunk is like old-timey steam engines doing like modern things, and that's a very like ABAP in the cloud is very much like an old-timey language, right? Doing things, new tech things in the cloud. And so I like the idea of steampunk as a name and as like sort of a metaphor for what ABAP in the cloud is doing, because it's like the old dinosaur thing doing the new cool stuff, you know, powering things, right?
Yeah, definitely. From that perspective, it is spot on. I mean, because it serves the purpose to explain what it is about, and it's widely adopted. And then the third one, platform as a service. I mean, in the cloud world, we use we use these names. I mean, we have infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, solution as a
something
service.
As a service,
So everything is as a service, and ABAP is in fact some kind of platform as a service. Let's say there is also the latest for example, integration platform as a service and stuff like that. So it's all in this cloud context to kind of explain that, in fact, and it is true in a way that, like Jelena said, everything is as a service in the cloud. So it's like you are using some kind of service instead of having everything in your data centers, inside your company. You are consuming services that someone else is providing to you, and you are leveraging these services to your benefit. So this is the whole idea around the cloud.
And so, so the name Steampunk again makes appearance in embedded Steampunk, which is totally funny, playing with the name. So Aleks, I was very interested to hear about this, but I honestly don't have the whole lot of information or knowledge. So can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, well, embedded Steampunk is in fact, let's say, code name, although I don't know if
another code
really still a code name. But this is something that is officially called developer extensibility. So we know that with us in S4HANA, we have in-app and side-by-side extensions. And then in-app, we have key user extensibility and classic extensibility. Classic is doing things the old way. Key user is, in fact, what the idea was that like key users can do it without writing almost a line of code, which is pretty much the truth, although you have to understand some IT concepts that you can do this kind of stuff, but it's very nice, very effective, but it has its limitations. I mean, you can extend system with the key user extensions up to the point by leveraging released options, but with the developer extensibility or embedded Steampunk, you get, in fact, Steampunk within your system. And it's kind of, you are building now extensions, but they are not anymore in BTP. They are in your system, inside your system, using existing runtime. So you are not using additional runtime. You are not paying for additional runtime. You are developing things, but still by following guidelines and still facing the same similar limitations with the cloud ABAP, but now inside the system. And it is currently available only with S4HANA Cloud, but we are waiting now news from SAP. We are waiting same to be become available for on-premise as well.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it just like, I think just kind of to wrap around to something earlier you talked about, and I think I noticed this too. I talked with somebody else about this at a different conference we were at, is that like all of the embedded Steampunk extensions in general, all this kind of stuff, like the level of attention that people are putting on the concept of the clean core and doing safe extensions and that kind of stuff just continues to ratchet up and up and up further, right? Everybody wants clean core. Everybody realizes that the universe that we had before of like, let's just hand me a wrench, I'm going to dive in and like change the engine entirely every time I need something is not sustainable. And that clean core is just like, that idea is sort of wafting through everything techie going on in the SAP universe, I think. And I think it makes sense, right? Yeah.
And good thing is that with standard Steampunk, let's say ABAP in BTP, it can now be some kind of a bridge to embedded Steampunk. With the adapter, and also what we didn't mention, and it become available in the meantime, it is also free tier that is available, which is also one step for better adoption of ABAP in the cloud. And with the embedded Steampunk, I think it will get even better, because now you have a tool to extend your system, but still keeping the clean core. But you're one step closer to kind of build extensions with more flexibility, with the writing some code, some custom code, but not affecting the system itself.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So Jelena, should we come back to this upskilling question?
Sure.
This, because I think this is kind of important. But I'm just looking at the time and making sure we're not going to like go for like 6 hours or whatever on this. Because Aleks, it would be great to just like sit here and talk forever. But I want to make sure our listeners get like good chunks of stuff. And I think one thing that has been kind of talked about a lot, and especially between me and Jelena, both among ourselves and folks that we know, is really kind of getting the ABAP universe upskilled into cloud, into the new world, into all this kind of stuff. From your perspective, what is the most important thing for ABAP developers to sort of put in their knowledge basket as they look at ABAP in the cloud or the cloud in general? Like what's the best thing to sort of start that approach for them, you think?
Well, let's say there are a lot of good resources online, and first of all, they should start with RESTful application programming model to understand it, because I think this is the biggest gap compared to the old ways of working. Limitations they get in cloud ABAP are not that. I mean, you very quickly learn to live with them. It's not that especially nowadays. I can give one example. Back in the time when we were starting with the book, and even before that, a group of developers within IBM developed SDK, ABAP SDK for IBM Watson, which at the time was meant for NetWeaver, for on-premise system. And then we connected, and we said, okay, so why don't make it available for ABAP in the cloud as well? And then when we started working on it, we faced a real challenge, because especially at that time, the restrictions were really big. But over time, that's become more and more flexible, and nowadays I think restrictions of course are there, but you very quickly learn where they are, what are the boundaries within you can work, and it's not a problem. I think the biggest upskilling is learning RAP itself.
RAP, yeah. I have to say, I think I agree too, because I think even for myself, as I was, starting to get into even just the simple things like OData, UI5, that kind of stuff, the idea of RESTful HTTP and that kind of stuff was kind of one of those things that's a key to so many of the other things in the universe now, in the cloud, in the web, and all that kind of stuff, is that adding a RESTful model to what you do in a particular language is vital for whatever the future is. So I'm taking a second to say, Aleks, I agree with you very much so.
So I think that's again where there is a lot of confusion in broader community, because there is a CAP, cloud application programming model, and there is RESTful application programming model. And I feel that people perceive that, okay, ABAP REP, that's something that's kind of on-premises for HANA, CAP is in the cloud. But I don't think that's technically correct, because as you said, REP, as we've been told, at least it's used on both on-premise and in the cloud. So like basically what's the difference between REP and CAP then?
Does it
even matter? Like what's the deal with REP and CAP?
It's in fact easier than it looks like, because CAP is in fact cloud application programming model is in fact meant for Java and Node.js, so it is completely different universe.
So that's not even ABAP, really.
No, it's completely different universe. Okay. Yeah.
So that clears it up, I think.
So that's the deal.
That's it.
That's the real deal. Yeah. So, basically, yeah, and that is in fact the other part of the story with the BTP adaptation. Should we go for REP or should we go for CAP? there are advantages and disadvantages on both sides, and this is, I think, one of biggest discussions everywhere. Yeah, what are the advantages? So there is no perfect solution. Again, looking from different angles, you can come up with different decisions, and difficult to say, but yeah.
So Aleks, one thing we do, one thing we try to do, and we'll see if this works, is we try to have fun on the podcast.
Okay.
And we try to come up with fun little whatever things to do with our guests. And this time, if it's okay with you, let's try a little game. And this game is called Two Truths and a Lie.
Oh.
To play this game, here's what happens. You as a player will say three things about yourself, three little one-sentence factoids. And two of them are true, and one of them is a lie. And the other players must figure out which of the things is a lie. Okay? So I'll go first. I'll volunteer to go first. And I'll tell you guys three things. And you guys have to figure out which one is a lie. Okay?
All right.
Number one, I started my career as a Java developer. Okay? Number two, I have multiple trophies for spelling bees in Iowa. Number three, I was bitten by a tiger outside a Mexican restaurant.
Oh my goodness.
So there's three things. Which of them is a lie?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I would go with a tiger probably also.
Tiger? Okay.
No, yeah. Also,
okay.
Now I'm not really sure.
Okay, Aleks, what do you think?
Tiger thing is a lie.
Okay. Jelena thinks tiger's a lie. Aleks, what do you think?
Well, this tiger thing surely sounds very unlikely. I mean, you're saying a tiger and Mexican restaurant.
A tiger outside a Mexican restaurant bit me.
I'm not sure which one is less believable, tiger or outside of Mexican restaurant. That's.
I would go for the simplest one, maybe Java developer.
Okay, so here's the answer. Aleks is right. I did not start my career as a Java. I was like a desktop support person. So it's true that I did spelling bee stuff, and I actually was bitten by a tiger outside a Mexican restaurant, but it wasn't a full grown. It was like a juvenile tiger, right? It was like some guy had I don't know how he got a tiger, but he brought his tiger in a little cage to the restaurant, and he was outside, and he's having people, you could pay him $5 and you could pet his tiger. And it was probably 50, 60 pounds, something like that, right? So it was like a medium-ish sized dog-sized tiger at that point. And I give him my $5. I'm like, I'm going to pet a tiger, of course. So I give him my $5 and I pet the tiger, and the tiger just goes chomp on my arm. The tiger bit me on the arm, and I was actually bleeding on my arm from the tiger. But the sad thing is, it didn't leave a scar, because I would love to have a tiger bite scar on my arm. How cool would that be to have? Yeah, no problem, ladies. This is a tiger bite scar. No big deal, right? But did not leave a scar. So that's my tiger bite story.
Wow.
So 1 point for Aleks.
Wow.
So now it's somebody else's turn. If you want,
I can go. I'm totally not prepared, but I will. Yeah, I will give it a try.
Yeah.
So I will. So three statements for me. So number one, I was once part of the keynote at SAP TechEd in Vegas.
Okay.
Second statement is I had to have several stitches put in my tongue. And the third one is I was born in Russia. So let's.
Oh, okay. I think I have a guess.
All right.
But I must make sure.
Go for it, Paul.
So I think the lie is that you were born in Russia. I think you were born in Latvia.
Alex, what do you think?
Same here.
Same. All right. yes, that was easy.
We got it.
Definitely.
How did you get stitches in your tongue?
Yeah.
How did you get stitches in your tongue?
It's very weird. It was in school, and we were just playing with the kids, and I was just standing there with my kind of mouth closed, but my teeth kind of open inside. That frequently happens. And some girl just jumped up, and she accidentally hit me like on the chin. And I ended up with like gushing blood. Totally gross, but yeah. It was kind of item of pride for me in school, because it's something unusual that doesn't happen with many kids, thankfully.
Right.
It wasn't really bad, so yeah, but it was just interesting. All right, Alex, do you want to have it a go?
Do you want to go, Alex?
Yeah.
All right, give it to us.
Yeah, I can go with something simpler.
Go for it.
I made up this time. Yep. They are in fact very similar. But one of them is lie. So first one would be I like hiking. Second one would be I like running. And third one, I like cycling.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
So here I have a pick just based on my own preference in life, is that I like riding bikes and I like hiking. I hate running. So I'm gonna say that liking running is a lie. Everyone who says I like running is lying. That's my world position right there.
I would try to go like with hiking. That might be the lie. I don't know, but yeah, just a wild guess.
Yeah, running is a lie.
Yes! It's true. Nobody actually likes running. Everyone is lying when they say it.
This is funny.
That's good. That's a good strategy for the game too, is to have very like tightly related things.
Awesome,
and that's good.
Not nicely played.
Yeah, well played.
You know, in Back to the Future, it was part 3 when Marty was in a saloon with these cowboys. Yeah. And when he was talking about stuff, what people like to do in the future, and then he said, we run for pleasure, like, and they started laughing. We run only when something is chasing us. So you're crazy.
That's funny. Well played. Okay, well, Alex, this is we're at a good stopping point, I think. Do you have anything you want to promote, or hey, go buy my movie on for sale on Netflix or whatever, anything you want to promote? Now is your time if you want it.
Well, there is a new book coming out this December. It is about SAP Fiori. So yeah. So
what's the deal with it? Is it about UI5 or is it about Fiori design, or what's it about?
Well, it is a kind of how should I say? It is again like this ABAP book. It is implementation and development. So it covers a variety of topics. I mean, again, we know there is already a book about UI5 and focusing on development itself. This one is focusing both on development and operations and touching different areas. So it's more broader, let's say.
I like that.
Covering different topics. Yeah,
actually like that a lot.
Around Fiori, yeah.
Sweet. Awesome. Okay. Well, when we hear about that more, we'll throw it on our website and all that kind of stuff. But we'll tell the world it's coming.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, on behalf of the Boring Enterprise nerds, thanks for stopping by, Alex. It was a pleasure. Thank you for jumping right into the game. Well done. Thank you for passing out great ABAP and cloud knowledge to our listeners. We really appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you.
It was a great pleasure to take part in your podcast, and thanks.
Great.
And
awesome. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah.